Welcome to the Thousand Island Project. I'm Donkey D and this is episode 2, Island of the Dead. And what you're looking at right now are the very first 2 small islands we built in the last episode. These islands cover all the basics for a functioning city: water, power, healthcare, and police station. And both islands are named after my very first members. And I want to say huge thanks for all the love and support. You guys are absolutely fantastic. So, in today's episode, we're starting work on island number 3. With these awesome residential buildings and a few death care facilities, we're going to create some custom cemeteries that'll give this island its own unique touch. First up, let's start with the basic road network. We're going to extend the roads from the previous islands onto this new one. Following the natural flow of the land, we'll map out the main roads and then fill in the gaps with some dirt roads. Maybe a roundabout here and here. And we need to raise this dirt road a little bit higher. And just like that, we've got ourselves 2 beautiful little ponds. And next we're going to follow this road and curve it around to create a nice sweeping line like that. Let's clear out the trees on this side and we'll do the same over here. Then we connect it with a bridge. And yeah, that's it. Let's focus on the smaller island on the right first. As for the bigger island on the left, well, I'm not entirely sure what to do with it yet. Maybe some farmland, probably not big enough, I don't know, but we will see. And here I think first we need some houses here. As I always like to point out, the easiest way to make buildings look they belong together is just to match their colors. In cold regions, roofs are usually black, dark gray, or dark brown, because darker shades capture sunlight more effectively and help retain heat. Most of the time, these roofs are made of asphalt shingles, which naturally come in those deep tones, and they are cheaper than the one we are using right now. The red or orange roofs are usually made of clay tiles and are super common in warmer areas, just like the island we're building now. It's clearly in a warm climate zone. Unlike the asphalt shingles, clay tiles are designed to keep buildings cooler, and they're widely used in Mediterranean or Spanish colonial-style architecture. In the US, for instance, you'll mostly find them in the southern and southwestern states. They're not just practical, they're also a huge style statement. Clay tiles have that timeless aesthetic that can really elevate a home's look, which is why they're often found on high-end properties. Those communities typically feature spacious lots, premium landscaping, and diverse architectural styles with homes made of high-quality materials. They also provide top-tier shared amenities such as golf courses, fitness centers, and private pools. On our island here, they have greenery similar to what you'd find in a golf course, but for now we're planning to use that space to build a variety of cemeteries. Honestly, I'd love to create a golf neighborhood, but the game doesn't have any golf-related assets yet. So I'm putting that idea on hold to see if they add golf carts or those little flags later. Anyway, let's wrap up these small paths. These are the ones locals might use for a walk or visitors might follow when visiting the graves. You know, these kinds of coastal cemeteries, while not extremely common, but they do exist. They're often located in scenic spots overlooking the ocean, creating a serene and reflective atmosphere. Many of them hold historical significance connected to early settlers, sailors, or maritime communities. Of course, there are plenty of stories and legends about how those undead, rising from neglected graves, turned into ghouls or drowners that haunt the shores, attacking innocent villagers. Then the villagers would pool their money to hire a local witcher to handle the situation and restore peace. And traditionally, we need to place 2 wind turbines over here and then connect some utility poles. I mean, these poles don't really serve much of a functional purpose in the game. They're more for decorative effect at the moment. Now let's place the first mausoleum, this above-ground structure that houses one or multiple coffins, often for families or prominent individuals. Let's make a small pathway here, and then the surrounding area will be some headstones or gravestones, the kind that most people are familiar with. These gravestones are typically made from durable materials like marble or limestone. They often feature inscriptions with the person's name, birth, and death dates. And sometimes people also put epitaphs or religious symbols on it. They vary in shapes and sizes, ranging from simple flat markers to upright monuments or more intricate designs. I have no idea if these headstones I'm using are from the base game or not, but either way, their quality feels really impressive to me. And this lawn over here will also be turned into a cemetery later on. What I did here was go for a more organized design. If we're talking about most small town cemeteries in real life, they're usually a lot more random. Like the graves aren't lined up so perfectly or anything, but you know, I just think this kind of neat layout looks way much better overall. On this side, we do some dirt paths. And more trees fill the gap. And let's add some palm trees here and there. They'll look awesome too. And then it's rows and rows of more headstones. They turned out looking really good. I like it. And let's add a few parking spots here. We need to make sure visitors have some places to park. For this area, I mapped out a grid based on the roads and terrain. And we need to fill the spaces with headstones in between, keeping the same style as before. Nice and neat. To complete it, let's plant some trees here to create a nice separation between the beach and the lawn. For some reason, the two small ponds we made earlier have completely dried up. The water's just gone. So I had to manually create a water surface here. And of course, around this pond there will naturally be some reeds or similar vegetation growing. In the communities where I live, there are quite a few similar small ponds. Typically, these ponds serve as habitats for different kinds of animals and birds. Frogs and toads use them for breeding in spring and summer, while ducks and geese might use the ponds as stopovers during migration or even as permanent homes if the conditions are suitable. However, living close to these ponds can also bring some frustrations. I mean, those stagnant ponds can sometimes attract mosquitoes or flies. In the summer, for example, I've often seen dozens of flies clinging to the window screens. It was absolutely crazy as fucked. I don't know if you guys have ever used those electric rackets specifically for killing flies or mosquitoes. It's almost like a fly barbecue. At least the smell is kind of surprisingly appetizing. The final touch here is to plant some trees by the bridge entrance, and then this area will be done. We're We're gonna place our second cemetery here, and this structure in the center that looks like a stone coffin is called sarcophagus. I know, sometimes English can be so ridiculous, like a coffin is just a coffin, right? If it's made of wood, you call it a wood coffin. If it's made of stone, you call it a stone coffin. But no, they had to go and invent this fancy new word, sarcophagus. And why, you ask? Because the word comes from Greek, combining sarx, meaning flesh, and phagen, meaning to devour. So when you combine those words, it literally means flesh eater. How crazy is that? Anyway, back in the days, those kind of stone coffins were originally used as exclusive burial containers for royalty, and the most famous examples are the sarcophagi of ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Later, this practice spread to ancient Greece and Rome, where sarcophagi evolved into more public forms of memorials, not only for royalty but also to honor warriors or other elites. So over time and in modern days, these above-ground sarcophagi have become pretty rare, mainly because of the challenges with preservation. And even when you do see them, they're usually empty and serve as memorials, with the actual remains buried underground instead. The next part, which might just be my favorite, is this walkway that connects the two islands. These paths cutting through water are typical on those vacation islands. You know, the ones with stone piles on either side that make them look so dreamy and romantic. You can walking along this kind of pathway with the ocean gently lapping at the stones on either side. The walkway itself is narrow enough to feel intimate, but wide enough for couples or small groups to stroll comfortably. The sunlight sparkles on the water and you can see fish darting between the rocks. There are palm trees or tropical flower lines on both sides. You know, it's the kind of place where people stop to take photos, sit on the edges to dip their toes in the water, or simply pause to enjoy the breeze and the view of the endless horizon. The view from this angle is so freaking great. I mean, yeah, what can I say? Maybe more trees. There's still a big patch of lawn over here, but it doesn't seem quite large enough to be a proper cemetery. Maybe I'll turn it into a little park. I don't know, let's see. Let's place this one here. It's one of the assets from the Death Care mod. I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but it seems like it's perfect for our cemetery area, a place for quiet reflection or just to enjoy the ocean view, or maybe we could even make it the main entrance to the cemetery. Either way, let's add some rocks and vegetation to create a nice shoreline first. And you guys are probably very familiar with these steps by now, so I'll keep it short and simple. And now let's set up the walking trails over here. I would say we make this part a parking lot, curving it along the road for a smooth arched layout. Draw some pathway surfaces here. And pile some rocks along the base of this wall just to make the whole structure look a bit sturdier. The combination of the white stone, the pathway, and the fresh green trees looks so good together. We need to adjust the surface here a little bit. I want to plant some greenery in the middle section. Looks pretty good to me. Hopefully it'll get more cars parked to bring some life to the area. And let's put our fourth cemetery building here. It kind of looks like they could burn the bodies here, I don't know. This spot will serve as the main entrance with the parking lot nearby for visitors and the pathways leading to areas that will eventually plan out as headstone sections. As for this part, I've got something in mind, maybe a small chapel on the beach, a space where ceremonies can be held. With the amazing scenery, I hope it will be perfect for both weddings and funerals. We really need to get rid of these headstones. Burying people on the beach just feels way too hilarious and ridiculous. This beach should probably have some chairs in neat rows facing a small platform or altar. The idea is to keep it simple yet elegant, making the beach a flexible space for meaningful gatherings. Let's change the house to the Spanish-style color scheme with red roofs and white walls. Then more vegetation and palm trees, maybe? That's about right, and yeah, good enough for me. And the next step is to work on these two patches of grass in front of the chapel. Let's add a sand pathway here, and another one over here as well. And then let's add a flower bed here between the parking lot and the road. This is our last lawn for today. I've been unsure what to do with it for a while. And honestly, I don't feel like adding more headstones, so let's create a few small pathways here and turn it into a little park instead. And yep, not bad at all. Almost forgot there's still a little empty space here. Maybe we can squeeze a signal tower in here. It's part of the basic infrastructure we need to build anyway. For the finishing touch today, we'll place a line of large rocks along the coast to act as a barrier, protecting the shoreline from waves and preventing erosion. Now let's name this island after my third member, Chris Dominic. I will call it Sanctuary of Chris. Perfect name for a place of peace and reflection. I've also uploaded the save file, so if you want to hop into the game and explore, you can search for 1000 Island. And don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I am Donkey D, and I'll see you in the next one.